Could you speak a little bit about the lawsuit that you submitted against the DEQ because of the allowing for fracking in the state of Michigan?
Well, the short version, there's a long version and a short version. I'll give you a short version. I just filed a claim in the Court of Appeals for the state of Michigan last week on a decision that had been by Judge Collette in Ingham County. Judge Collette upheld a ruling by Dan Wyant, or not a ruling, but a letter from Dan Wyant, who's the head of the DNR. The issue we had brought to the, I'm sorry, I had to have DEQ, not DNR. The issue we had brought to the DEQ was whether a frack well should be governed by Michigan's existing administrative rules for injection wells. Under the rules for injection wells, if a fracker intends to inject something, they submit an application and they have to disclose some, not all, but some of the chemicals that they're planning to inject down into the hole. Another rule that governs injection wells is that there's a formula for a maximum pressure they're allowed to use. In a frack well, typically a 2-mile deep, vertically deep frack well, there could be 10,000 pounds per square inch down at the bottom of that hole, which would require 5,000 pounds per square inch at the top of the hole. And there would be limits on that if the rules for injection wells were applied to frack wells. So the legal question is, what is the definition of an injection well? What is the definition of a frack well? Do they coalesce with each other? We say yes. We first submitted a petition to the DEQ. The DEQ has a standard definition for frack well and a standard definition of an injection well. The standard definition of injection well is several things, but one of them is that any well which is used to increase the, I believe this is the quote, to increase, in which fluids are injected to increase the ultimate recovery of hydrocarbons. I believe that's the wording of the rule. Well, that's what a frack well is. Everybody knows that. The industry knows that. In fact, we went to several industry experts before starting the case and asked them, what is the purpose of a frack well? Is it to increase the ultimate recovery of hydrocarbons? They said yes, including the top expert nationally for the American Petroleum Institute, a guy named David Miller. That's in the record. So the industry agrees that a frack well fits the definition of an injection well, but the DEQ would not. So we submitted a petition to the DEQ. They had 60 days to answer. They didn't answer within 60 days. 60 days came and went. There was no answer. That's a rule of the DEQ. You have to answer within 60 days. 2 days after the end of the 60-day period, we got a letter from Dan Wyant, head of the DEQ, in which he said, no, I'm not going to treat a frack well as an injection well, even though a frack well injects 5 million gallons of water and chemicals each time. That is for a horizontal frack well. So that's an offense to the English language. To say an injection well where you inject 5 million gallons is not an injection well under Michigan rules. Judge Collette heard the case in Ingham County, and he said, well, I have to defer to the expertise of the DEQ. But what he failed to recognize is that the DEQ was not speaking in this case because it was 2 days late, and therefore the letter of Dan Wyant had no official status. It was not binding on anybody. Business people and environmentalists, everybody expects that when you put a question to the DEQ, they will answer, not only answer, but answer promptly and timely. And here they had a 60-day time limit. This is written in the rules. When they violate their own rules, then they should be given no deference. But Judge Collette wouldn't agree with that, so he rejected our appeal, and not an appeal, he rejected our petition, our claim, and I filed in the Michigan Court of Appeals last week on behalf of 2 landowners in Gladwin County named Heather Sheely, S-C-H-I-E-L-E, and Deanna Hughes. It's D-E-A-N-N-A Hughes, H-U-G-H-E-S. Plus, Ban Michigan Fracking was also a plaintiff. The case was just filed. I filed it in two ways, a claim of appeal and an application for a leave to appeal. The documents for this case are on the website of Ban Michigan Fracking. That's banmichiganfracking.org. So we hope to hear shortly from the Court of Appeals. One of the things that we try to, I guess I am giving you the long version instead of the short version. One of the things that we asked the judge to do, and which he wouldn't do, was to actually stop two wells which are ongoing and being fracked right now as we speak on Sunset Trail in the Mackinac Forest in Kalkaska County. Because they had not disclosed the chemicals they were going to use at the time they applied for their permit. The DEQ let them go ahead anyway. That well will be completed before this case is over, so that well will become moot. But at the time the Michigan Court of Appeals does issue its decision, whether it's a month from now, a year from now, there will be other DEQ permits for frack wells pending, and those those permits will automatically become in violation if the Court of Appeals goes in our favor. We expect it will, because we're upholding not only the rights of landowners, we're upholding the English language. We're saying that if a well is used to increase the ultimate recovery of hydrocarbons, it's a frack well, and there's no two ways about it. These are not technical words. These are not specialized definitions. A definition is supposed to be a one-sentence, standalone proposition. It's all wrapped up in the one-sentence definition. So that's our case, and we trust the court will agree with us, and we'll be able to stop some of these frack wells and benefit the landowners, as well as provides for more public discussion about the whole issue in the state of Michigan.
Do you have a guess on the amount of time it might take for them to respond to your, the lawsuit?
I do not. We just started the case. It could be a month, it could be a year, it could be longer than that.
Okay.
I could take steps, and I may take steps, not sure right now, to try and accelerate the process, but right now we're just getting the process started.